All right. Hey, music producers and sound designers, welcome back to the stream. Today we're going to be looking at designing sounds in Reaktor that you can actually use in your productions. Stay tuned and let's jump right into it. So today we're going to turn a simple waveform into a cinematic pad with Reaktor blocks, and we're going to do it with Reaktor as a plugin. So I've got Reaktor here. We're going to start a new pat ensemble. So I'm going to save the old one. So let's go back. And I'm going to start a new patch. So I'm going to bring in a new one here. And I'm going to open that up. And when you open that up, you're going to see a page that looks something like this. Whether you open up Reaktor as a plugin or as an individual app, which you can do it either way, standalone or as a plugin inside of your favorite DAW, React as in Ableton FL or Logic or Pro Tools. So today we're going to be using, there's 3 different sections when you open that up. One is the play section, one is the patch section, and one is the build section. We like to use the build section because it gives us the most flexibility when we're building out our sounds and sound design tools. So I'm going to jump right in. You hit the edit key and you can edit and create sounds from scratch. So today I'm going to be designing that cinematic synth or waveform inside of Reaktor, and let's jump right in. So if you think you need expensive plugins for film scoring or lush pads, that's not the reality. I'm going to show you how to turn a basic waveform into a cinematic texture, and just using a few Reaktor blocks. So let's jump right into it. So when I open that up, we have a page that looks something like this. It's going to be a blank page, but don't be intimidated by a blank page. It just gives you more creative freedom to create the sound that you want to create. So we're going to begin with our basic note in. So that's going to be a util, and we're going to use a note in. A note in is basically going to send MIDI keyboard information from your keyboard. My keyboard's underneath me, and it's going to send the MIDI keyboard information straight to your computer. So that sends, when I hit a key here, you can see this key is lighting up to show that there's input signal, but the signal has nowhere to go because I don't have any more plugins or any modules connected. Next thing we're going to connect is an oscillator. So an oscillator looks something like this. It's a sound generation device. Next thing I'm going to connect is a VCA. VCA is going to send out to the left and right speakers. You can name this L and R, or we can just leave it as is, knowing that these are left and right speakers that the sound is going out, because the sound has to go out through some source, so through some port. So I'm going to use a simple saw wave here, change the waveform to a saw wave, and we can listen to how raw that is by connecting our patch up. So I'm going to connect that in right here. And once that's connected, we are going to listen. So you can hear a raw waveform coming through. Just going to mute that, and I'm going to put a scope on there so we can visualize our raw waveform. So if I turn it back on, you can see that raw saw wave. I'm also going to add one more thing. We're going to need an envelope on the end just so that we can control our amplifier and what it's doing. So just in short terms, I'm going to add modulation depth to our amplifier so that we have control over our sound. Going to turn the volume down. That's a very raw waveform you're hearing, just a very raw saw wave. So that's great. We have a saw wave right now, and we're going to patch this live. So we're going to keep going with our sound. We're going to add in one more thing. We're going to add in a filter so that we have some control over our filter effect. So I'm going to patch it in between our oscillator and our VCA by taking away those connections, just by patching it in. And then we want a slow sine wave that gently sweeps up. So I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to add in a second oscillator. Let's duplicate this oscillator right here. Gonna bring in a mixer, and I'm going to gently mix these two waves together through the same filter. So it looks something like this. Don't be intimidated by this. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to just make sure that our sound is coming out. So there's no sound right now because the volume on our mixer is turned down. So now we got a double saw wave. We can name our oscillators here. Oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and we got a nice fat saw wave. I'm really liking that, so I'm going to keep that because it seems very thick and lush. I'm going to duplicate my oscillator one more time. We're going to call this oscillator 3, and I'm going to make this a sine wave so we can get a deeper tone. I'm going to turn up the volume on that. And we're going to go to oscillator 3. We're going to or a panel. We're going to organize our panels by oscillator. We're going to organize oscillator 1, oscillator 2, oscillator 3, our mix knob, our mixer, our scope, and our envelope. Just going to put the envelope before the VCA, and our scope is coming out the back end. So I'm going to take oscillator 3 and make it a sine. Give it a double bassy sound. I'm going to take oscillator 2 and I'm going to adjust the rate so we get a thicker sound. And that's sounding pretty good to me. So we blended those sounds together just quickly with a mix knob, and we're already halfway there with that cinematic vibe. And we're going to route the signal to a stereo delay, and it's going to sound really lush and really spacey with this stereo delay. So I'm going to bring in the stereo delay, and I'm going to connect it to my VCA. This is going to be the final input of what we're going to connect through our left and right speakers. Going to tone down the delay. We're going to add one more thing and add some like flutter effect to this. So I think the best tool for this is an LFO. We're going to add an LFO to probably the second, I think it's the first oscillator. So in this oscillator sandwich that we created, just going to add an LFO to that. So it's going to look something like this. Just organize our panel a little bit more. That looks good to me. Bring everything in view so you can see everything that's going on. Make it a little bigger. And we've got our panel with all our modules on it, and we've got some modulation going on right here. So I'm going to give the modulation depth to our pitch. And we can test that out. I'm not liking that, so give it to the pulse width. We can change the speed of that with the LFO rate. Give it some movement. Okay. So let's do a little high pass. Actually, I'm not liking that so much with this delay. So I'm going to actually switch it out for a reverb. So I'm going to bring in some reverb. I'm going to switch this one out for a reverb. Going to redo our connections for the left and right speaker. Bring that in. And there we go. Got some width on it. That's what I was looking for. Make it sound a little bit meaner. Change the panning. I'm really liking that sound. We're going to go ahead and save it as a preset. We'll call it cinematic synth. Go ahead and save that. And there we got our sound. We got our finished sound. We can go ahead and use that in any production we want to use it in, any project, and really spice it up, make it nice, make it good. And yeah, let me play a few chords so you can hear how they evolve. The sound is so thick, you almost don't need to play really chords. You can play bass notes, but if you play higher, I think I want to tweak it just a little bit. I'm going to tweak the attack so that the attack comes on a little bit slower, just on the envelope. So we'll hit that knob. So there we have it. We have our finished Reaktor sound. So this sound didn't come from a preset. We built it. You built it from nothing. And if you like this, you'll love my sound design, Reaktor sound design challenge. Starting on Monday, we'll build full synths together, synths, sequencers, effect chains, and turn you from preset user to full sound designer. So link in the bio and chat, grab your spot, and I'll see you inside. Peace out for now and keep sound designing.